cheeses. And then Harry said, Tom, will you come along? And I said, yes, I'll bring my 2 cheeses. Cheese in a boat is a bad idea, said Jerome. It's impossible to keep it cool. And I travelled with Tom's dreadful cheeses before on a train back from Liverpool. I can't leave my cheeses at home, I said, on account of their powerful smell. My wife and children have had to move out. They live in a local hotel. So it was decided 3 men would go in the boat, and they'd take a dog instead. I tried to get rid of my cheeses, then I'd meet them in Maidenhead. The public mortuary refused my cheeses, so I wrapped them up and took them in a cheesecloth sack on the luggage rack of a strangely empty train to Cookham. I punted downstream from Cookham, for they were draining Volta's Lock. Passing crews who got a whiff of my cargo veered from the windward in shock. I moored my 2 cheeses in my punt, just where the Clifton reach dwindles, and I proceeded on foot past the drained-out lock to that Thameside hotel called Skindles. The landlord of Skindles stood by the door. He was dressed in a nautical manner. Known to all as the Commodore, he had a big-chested daughter named Anna. Rimmer swells and girls crammed the hotel, but the lord of all he could see was a conceited dandy who sat sipping brandy with Big Anna upon his left knee. Anna, my dear, he sang in her ear, you rouse me to heights of affection. Come upstairs to my suite of rooms, and I'll show you my stamp collection. You could see from the Commodore's face that he didn't like the scenario, and when his daughter got dragged upstairs, I asked him, who's the Lothario? His name is John, but they call him Sir John. He's descended from the rakish George Villiers. He's renting Spring Cottage near Clifton House. Your strange cologne, sir, is making me bilious. Sir John had a valet who told me more. He said, my own name is Reg. I write all Sir John's conquests in this book. In bed he's a living ledge. I mean, there's 40 from Windsor and 20 from Henley. Look, here is a list of their names. There's 1 Weybridge lady, but 30 from Chertsey, and 180 from Staines. Don't you leave me, Sir John, wept the Lady Nero. Don't you remember your vows and mine? Of course he remembers, called out the fellow. You're in his book at 4009. Save me, cried Anna from a room above, and the Commodore ran to her aid. But the rampant St. John had already moved on, along with Christine and after him shouted the Commodore with weeping women in tow. As he passed, I asked, can I rent a room? He sniffed me and answered, no! I returned to my punt as darkness fell. I felt alone and so forlorn as I moored that craft on the Clifton Isle, midstream near the Spring Cottage lawn. I attempted to drown my 2 cheeses, but they both floated in the water, so I cut one of the 2 in 4 and successfully ate a quarter. I fell into a deep and troubled sleep, but just as I was starting to dream, I was roused from my iron slumbers by a woman's piercing scream. Oh! Sir John has harmed my father! He's bashed him on the head! He's running through with a rapier! I think he may be dead. 'Twas Anna, the Commodore's daughter. Her body lay on the lawn. A figure ran off through Clifton Woods with moonlit rapier drawn. You didn't see a thing, said Reg, when much to my surprise the valet appeared on my island and shone a torch into my eyes. I didn't like to argue with one of a brace of felons, who then went on to eat half a cheese, saying, this smells faintly of melons. I'll take the other cheese to Sir John, said Reg, but if he doesn't like, I'll weigh it down in Bolter's Lock. They're refilling it tonight. Half an hour went past, and still aghast, I was pouring myself a toddy, when I saw Reg drag a sack down the other bank, which appeared to contain a body. I ate the remaining quarter of cheese. And just as I was falling asleep, heavy lights came on in Great Clifton House, and I crept up through the woods to peep. An 18th century ball was on. Every guest held a grotesque mask, and although they all wore powdered wigs, I soon recognised the cast. Sir John was dressed as a foppish duke. Reg was a footman like Dandini. Lady Vera a countess with her maid Christine. Yet none of them seemed able to see me. Sir John and Reg exchanged their clothes, so that Vera thought Reg was Johnny, while the real Sir John went off with the maid for a touch of hey nonny nonny. Then in marched Anna with a military guard who seized and arrested the flunky. The organ grinder's a spec, said Reg, you've only unmasked his monkey. I think he's born at Maidenhead, he's a maid there and he's fond of her. When the guards rushed out, Reg left too, but upstream in a gondola. I punted a little way behind as Reg plied that magnificent craft, and when he moored it near Cookham churchyard, I followed him up the path. By an imposing tomb he met Sir John, who slapped him on the back. John took back his clothes and laughed and sang, drinking sherry from a sack. Sir John was leaning on the statue of a man who died in years of yore, when I noticed its white marble features were those of the Commodore. Suddenly the Commodore moved its head, and its stone cold lips as well. Sir John! Sir John! Repent! It roared, or I'll drag you down to hell. Sir John finished drinking his sherry and stuck the sack on the statue's head. You can come to supper if you like, he sang, for I put him to bed and I watched Sir John cruise to Maidenhead under the moonlight shining. Gondolier Reg was sculling astern. John ate his supper reclining. What happened next? I will never forget. Oh, it haunts my sleepless nights. What occurred in that drained-out lock chamber, neath the workman's dismal lights. Sir Johnny, I have come to you for supper. Came the most dreadful roar. Down in the lock, with a sack on its head, stood the statue of the Commodore. Sir John went down to meet his guest. They were both ankle deep in water. Repent, Sir John, you murdered me, it roared. You ravished my only daughter. It was only a bit of fun, said John, and for your mercy I won't beg. So the statue slammed shut the downstream sluice, and it trapped Sir John by the leg. Demonic workmen refilled the lock. Foaming waters flooded the chamber. Throw me a mallet, John called his valet. I'm in a sport of danger. Sir John smashed the head off the statue. It sank down in the lock in his sack. He was up to his chin in his boiling water by now his bottle was starting to crack. I'm only guilty of love, he sang, as 5,000 women will tell. I was only looking for little Miss Right. Don't drag me down to hell. I will always remember his final cry. It was heard from near and far. As he went to hell in a lock chamber, he let out a plaintive, "Ah!" And then Jerome woke me up. You're asleep in your punt, he said. Come with the three of us and the dog as we row out of Maidenhead. The types you get in Maidenhead have always played fast and loose. They're redraining the lock again today because something's jammed in the sluice. They redrained the lock in front of a crowd. The lockkeeper was furious. Rumours had spread of what I'd seen, and all Maidenhead was curious. They found the cause of the blockage. It was jammed in the sluice gate's trap. It wasn't just the usual old boot, but a large object in a sack. The keeper went down in the lock. The crowd gathered round to see. The keeper's going to open the sack. What can that object be? The assembled crowd took off the one. Cries of horror filled the air. For when he opened that sodden sack, he found my camembert. You obviously ate the first cheese yourself, said Jerome, since you knew it would revolt us. Then you put this second cheese in the drained-out lock before falling asleep near Bolters. As for the rest, you've dreamed it all. I find your story quite abhorrent. You're a chap with whom cheese clearly disagrees. You may well be lactose intolerant. Let's get out of Maidenhead, then we'll all feel cheered. I've been unable to book rooms at Skindle's because the landlord's disappeared. And then the 3 men in a boat rowed off, as happy as you please, leaving me on my own again in my punt with a piece of cheese. As I punted past Spring Cottage, a chap was cutting the hedge. "Hello, old friend," he shouted out, "remember me, I'm Reg. Sir John didn't want your cheese, he said it always makes him dream. So I weighed it down the lock last night while he played in the pool with Christine." Ah, so it was all only a dream, I thought. But then I punted as fast as I could, because I saw Anna leading the police down through Clifton Wood. And Clifton House. Oh, it looks strangely different now. But what alarmed me more, the house I'd seen had been burnt down 100 years before. Oh, I didn't look for the headless statue when I left the Clifton Reach. I took my cheese to Eastbourne, and I buried it on the beach. And, you know, that is why weak-chested people went to Eastbourne. And many still go there to stroll along the lovely prom and to breathe in the fortified air. And, dear friends, the moral of my story is this. If you want a life of ease, then avoid the Thames at Maidenhead and eating too much cheese.